This is the Be the Solution podcast, and I'm your host, Maria Quattrone. And Be the Solution podcast is all about you. It's all about you being the solution for your own life, because we all have the power to change our own life. Today, my guest is Debra Rody. She's an award winning sales and marketing professional with a proven track record of communicating a company's value proposition in a very competitive landscape. Debra's company is DL Media, and I've known Debra for many, many years. In fact, Debra and I worked together in another lifetime, and I welcome my friend Debra Rody to the Be the Solution podcast this morning. Good morning, Debra. How are you?
Good morning. It is so good to see you, and I'm so happy to just catch up with you. It's been a long time.
No, it certainly has, but oh, lots of challenges, valleys, ups and downs, as we were talking about in the green room.
Yeah. I follow you very closely on social media. You know how social media, that algorithm works. I think it's like the more you interact with someone, the more their information, their posts populate. And I make it a point to interact with yours because I want to see what's going on with you. And, you do some motivating posts, whether it's personally or professionally. So I'm really happy that we've stayed connected all these years.
Yes, thank you for that. I appreciate it
Yeah.
because I do it for uh, others as much as I do it for myself.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people don't realize is sometimes, a lot of times, when we're posting things that are to us, and it's hopefully it it positively affects somebody else or can help somebody else. Because
Absolutely.
my and that's the premise for Be the Solution podcast. I mean, it is showing people how you can be the solution, how you have the power to change your life,
Yeah.
and how you and only you are the creator and in charge of it. So it's yeah,
It's
interesting journey.
challenging. Yeah, it is. And it's challenging sometimes, as you probably know. I mean, when you're a business owner, you don't have anyone to stay accountable to other than yourself. It all starts in you and that mindset of what do I, just staying on track with your goals. And there are some
How do you
challenging
do that,
moments. What's that?
Debbie? Debbie, how do you do that? How do you get your mindset right and make sure that you're not just like, hey, well, today, nothing to do. We're going to go to the beach for the day.
Yeah. That's a good question because some days I'm so solid on how I do it, and other days I feel like I just wing it. All those years we spent in radio, the most consistent message I always took from our meetings was that, you're in your own business. This is just us here to support you as an organization, but you're accountable for you and you need to get up every day and make sure that you want to do this. So I have these little conversations in my mind. It's like there's just this little voice, that reminds me of my purpose. Why I love doing what, first of all, I think you really have to love doing what you do, and I do. I love marketing. Um, I love helping people understand how to find solutions to making their business grow. And that motivates me. That helps my mindset that I want another touch point with someone else today that I can help or that I can impact. So it's kind of twofold. There's that little voice motivating me, and then knowing that I can help someone else is a motivating factor.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's not
So
always easy. I'll tell you, there's times where I'm sitting on my couch at 7 o'clock in the morning going, oh, God, I could just lay here and watch the Today Show till 10 o'clock and just, you know, do nothing. But, I just press that eject button and get myself out.
and keep going. So um how do you get your business?
So right now, I'm really not in the seek and find mode, but I've in the past just networked. I have a very strong background in automotive because I spent so much time selling to that category when I was in radio. Um, but right now, I have a healthy client base of just, you know, people that I've networked, mostly
That's
in the New Jersey.
amazing.
Yeah, mostly in the New Jersey area. One of my biggest clients that I'm really proud of is a 12 location orthopedic practice that is really thriving, and I'm a consultant for them. I only get so close to their financials and, seeing the uptick in the revenue, but I see the uptick in new patients and I hear from them the feedback and we see the analytics. So it's really rewarding. And I've built such a great solid relationship with them.
That's
I
amazing.
Yeah, I would wanna stay connected to them even if we parted ways. I would wanna always stay connected to them and just watch them grow. So,
Yeah. Isn't that what
yeah,
it's all about?
yeah,
Helping others, being contribution.
yeah,
So what's going on in the marketing world these days? Like, you're very close to it. We obviously do marketing that's a little bit different than
yeah.
what you're doing.
Well,
And
there's so many different outlets for people to be impacted by someone's marketing message. So, I think that's become in what I'm seeing is it's become really cumbersome for businesses to understand how do I impact my target base, because in the morning they're scrolling social media, midday they're at their desk or they're on their computer streaming music, then they're at the gym listening to their Apple iTunes. It's not too many people, or then they're streaming their TV shows at night where there might be no commercials or they're watching Netflix. So it's really become complicated. And I often say to my clients, you have to have these buckets where your money goes to, you need to reach adults 25, 54. You know that their socioeconomic background is this, that they like to do this and that. And you put your money in there consistently. And as your product or service changes seasonally, if it is, then you pull a little money out and say, oh wow, my listeners are at the beach this time of the year. So I'm going to pull a little money out of this bucket and focus it more on targeting visibility at the beach. Um, so I really try to steer my clients to have a little touch point. You and I have always been trained that three times, that frequency three times, and it's not that way anymore. it's
yeah,
it's not, at least in the same medium. It's still three times, but it might be, I got you here on Pandora and I got you here on social media, and then I touched you over here with a billboard, you know? So, yeah,
well,
it's tricky.
there's so many choices. There's so many messages coming out to us.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember, what was it exactly? Was it 3.1 frequency? Was that
yeah,
the tap scan thing? Does that even
yeah.
exist anymore?
I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah. I mean, anything 3 and above was always solid,
The tap
but,
scan, does that have does it exist? Like, do you know?
oh, yeah, it definitely does. It
Oh,
definitely does.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I was asking about, not the
Yeah,
3.
yeah. Yeah, it definitely does.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's a different world out there. It's and I think companies really need a consultant approach from someone they're aligned with when it comes to marketing.
Yeah,
And for me, I don't do things on a commission basis per proposal or if I bring something to them and they buy it, then I make a commission on it, because it doesn't seem authentic to me. It seems like there's a motive behind it. So I always position myself more like, these are the services I'll provide. We can tweak things along the way, and do we agree on this fee
so
every
you have,
month?
like, a monthly retainer?
Yeah, yeah, and
Mhm.
it just feels more comfortable for me. Um,
Sure,
yeah,
I understand that.
yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, it's like, "Oh, spend more."
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't feel comfortable
Spend
to me.
spend 100,000 so I can get 10,000 a month from
I
you.
know, I know. Yeah,
I think those were the numbers, something like that.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And even when I set a plan with my client, you have to be open to changing it. You have to stay on top. Like look at the analytics, maybe A/B test a message. If you're doing email marketing, test the subject line. What's the opening rate? Are people opting in? You know, billboards are actually making such a big splash anymore. I don't know. My client has a few billboards, and I'm truly amazed at the feedback we're getting from people seeing it because especially the digital billboards. I always thought like, oh, how is someone going to see this billboard that is flashing and, just rotating, but it works.
I love billboards. They are
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
They definitely, you reach a lot of people with outdoor.
Yeah.
During COVID?
Yeah. Not so
That was
much.
not
Yeah.
so much. So I wanna know about so you were in the radio industry for a very long time. I guess it was
18 years.
2 decades. Okay, 18 years. And
Yeah.
then how did you transition out into your own company, and what did that look like for people that, are looking to know your story and your journey
Yeah.
of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of proud of myself for how I did it because I just did it. It was back in 2009. I left media altogether because when I left radio, I went over to Comcast Spotlight and I was selling TV advertising. And my husband at the time had decided to start his own recruiting firm because he had been doing so well at the company he was working for. He was like, I could do this and make more money. So I thought, hey, let me quit my job. And he and I talked about it. I quit my job, started with him. Anyway, when we were going through a challenging time in our marriage, we just decided to part ways. I thought, you know what? I'm already out here on my own. Let me start my own marketing consulting firm. So I registered DL Media in 2010 and I never looked back. I had Foreman Mills as my first client because I had such a great relationship with Eric Gerstein. And I'm not really sure why God in the universe, you know, gave him the responsibility to always have my back and just stay connected to me. But he's just been such a dear friend and a really great business confidant and relationship person. So that was my first launch.
Where is he now?
He is doing still voiceover work. He's built a nice side business for himself on like, excuse me, on these platforms like Voices 123, and he still does stuff with Gary Barbera. So yeah, he's still out there, and I stay in touch with him. But I've gotten away more from the media buying and have really focused more on marketing consultant strategy,
Sure.
developing. That's where it's fun for me. Although I will say I'm very skilled at negotiating media buys because I still have great relationships with the managers in radio and TV. So, but yeah, I launched everything with DL Media in 2010, and I've just been fortunate to network myself and pick up some business along the way. So it's
That's
been great.
great. That's
Yeah,
great. You're not actually, uh, looking for new business. In
yeah,
my in the world that we live in, it is every day.
yeah,
It's actually, I think about it, it's selling real estate is not it's not an easy business because you never ever can stop.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you something embarrassing actually. During COVID, I was like, you know what? I think I want to get my real estate license. So I did the online course. It was through Zoom, and I failed the test 3 times. Three
Wow.
times. How embarrassing is that? And I just said to myself, I just something about when you take the test. I mean, literally by like 1 point or 2.
Right.
Um,
Well, they try to
they
check it's
It is
meant to
tricky.
be there's trickery involved.
A lot of trickery, and I wasn't prepared for that. Um, and, I don't think that I learned very well doing virtual classes. And I will say this, I didn't study as much as I should have. I was like, "Oh, I got this," "How hard can this be?" But you know how when you get the results of your test, it shows you each section and how well you did. I have a mental block with the laws of agency for some reason. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, well, real estate's not my thing. I'm just gonna put that to the side for my bucket list of items to check off. So yeah,
Well,
I really applaud what you do because I clearly can't get there.
no, no, no. So we had somebody in our company who, unfortunately, he's not in real estate anymore, but he took 10 times to pass the test.
Ugh, yeah, I'm
I did,
embarrassed to say that.
and the reason why I actually, said to him, "Okay," he was one of the people through our scholarship program that we had, and we had since sunsetted that program.
Yeah,
Um, but I said, "Okay, well, he's not a quitter," but he was a quitter, unfortunately, anyway. You
yeah,
remember in radio, before you had accounts, you had to make a lot of phone calls.
yes,
If you wanted to
yeah,
get new business, you had to make a lot of phone calls.
yes,
Um, that's why I'm able to do what I do in real estate because of the background that I have, cutting my teeth and really learning how to make calls and talk to people,
yeah,
especially business owners.
yeah.
And that stemmed from my work in 1993.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said about the structure and the process that we learned in the radio business. Um, yeah, I remember when I got into the business in radio in 1997, I think it was. I was basically thrown at the time we had phone books, right? I was thrown like a phone book,
Correct.
and
That is correct.
I was thrown a few leads here and there, and just said, figure it out. And I just remember sitting in my cubicle going, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to learn this? And I just started listening to everyone's conversations, making phone calls, and I was too afraid to do it in the open environment. So I would go into the conference room and make my calls. And I was like, whatever I have to do to get this done. And guess what? My first year, I made 3 times more than my boss said that I was going to make because he set me up saying, listen, just be prepared, that your first year you're going to probably make X, but your second year you'll probably make Y. And I was like, wow, I kicked ass. I did good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I found my passion. I loved it.
It was a good run, right?
It was. It really
What do you
was.
what do you think you learned the most during your career in radio?
Um, that's a good question because I've thought about that often and how it still impacts me today. And I would say the biggest thing is just the confidence of knowing that I can do hard things, that I can get up every day and make the calls, even if I'm starting to procrastinate, because I find that when something feels challenging or uncomfortable, that's when procrastination kicks in. And you're just like, I don't really know how to do that, or I don't really know what I'm going to say or how I'm going to be perceived. So I just hold off. So I really fall back on the confidence that I learned through a lot of the training I received in radio and TV, um, to just face the uncomfortable, and it's going to feel good on the other side.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
not uncomfortable. I'm definitely not growing, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's both personally and professionally. We have to look at life that way. It's hard to do that, but it's if you I read a book years ago called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and there's one quote that I always try to apply is always begin with the end in mind.
Mind.
And I really love that quote. So it's
Thank
just,
you for bringing that quote up. Thank you,
yeah,
because I've
it's a good one.
it is a good one. I forgot about it, and yeah, I need that. Always begin
Yeah.
with the end in mind.
Yeah. Because I think it's important for us to focus on, even if you're starting a workout plan or like kind of like what you've been doing in your personal life, just, with not having alcohol and just trying to see if it changes your sleep habits or how you feel. It's like, when you set out to make a change like that, even though it's day by day, you still have to think about what do I want to feel at the end of this? What is that vision? What is that reflection in the mirror that I want seeing, at the end of this? So yeah,
Ultimately, we're all chasing a feeling,
yeah, that's well said for sure. Yeah,
and you know, I think it's a little complicated.
it
Uh,
is.
I also think that when people decide to do something new or different or make a change, it takes time.
Yes.
It takes time to actually see the benefits of the change.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some things like overnight you'll feel in a couple weeks, like
Yeah.
sleeping better. For example, not drinking wine,
Yeah.
sleeping better, not waking up as groggy,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking to excess and getting drunk, so I've rarely had like hangover, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah. But
But it
there's a lot
was
of sugars in wine, right?
well,
So
there was too many calories and too much sugar,
yeah.
and so. But what I would say is, you know, if it was something that you did or didn't do, either way, for some time, and you try something new, it really does take a long time for things to kind of like change. They
Yeah.
don't change like that
No.
in anything.
No.
And it's a slow thing that happens. And I go back to the compound effect, Darren Hardy, either positively or negatively works in your benefit. But it happens. So it's like when I start this podcast, we had this video and I say, draw a line on a piece of paper. Now draw 365 lines. In a year, look how far you've come
Yeah.
because it's just getting better. Or the opposite effect. In a year, if you eat that one piece of chocolate cake every day, I guarantee you will gain 10 pounds
Mm.
in a year.
Yeah.
If you add up all those pieces of chocolate cake, maybe more than 10, but let's just say
Yeah.
it's 10
Yeah.
a year. If you do this thing every day, like, I don't know, walk and then the next day lift weights, walk, lift weights, walk. Most likely, no guarantee, but most likely, 95% chance that you're going to be leaner
Yeah.
and more muscular
Yeah.
and way less in a year from now.
Absolutely. And you know what? I just saw something the other day on social media that said like there are 6 months left in the year. At the end of that, you're either going to have, 12 months of excuses or 12 months of, I forget what the other thing was, but accomplishments or something. And I mean, everything that you're saying about just, the lines on the paper and if you do this, you're going to get that. I still, for me, like I've gone through all those different exercises and I'm like, today's the day I'm going to challenge myself. And then I find a reason not to follow through on that workout that I wanted to do. Or um, it's really like, I think we have to find that internal motivating end result that we want and just block out all the noise. I don't know. It's not easy. It's not easy.
The thing is, it's the most important thing in our life is our own personal development
Yeah.
of self-actualization.
Yeah.
And when we work on that, everything eventually around us gets better because we're
Agreed.
better.
Yeah.
And so, what I have seen and witnessed and experienced in my own life was that we all, mostly all, want instant gratification in
Oh,
2024.
yeah.
And that's just not how the world was set up to work.
Nope. No. It's not
So,
even how our bodies are set up to work, you know?
yes, it's like your future is in your past.
Yeah.
So think about the hard times of like, okay, 1993, I'm sitting at WMG MTV 40. I have a notepad, a phone book, and a phone and a pen, and a box of business cards.
Yeah.
And here I am
Yeah.
in the calls. What did it feel like? It sucked.
Yeah.
I cried.
It
I
really
hid.
did.
I smoked cigarettes. I was nervous wreck.
Oh my gosh, I forgot you smoked cigarettes. I remember that. Wow. And did you stop that cold turkey?
Well, on and off over the years,
Yeah.
but it all like is entwined, right? Like, oh, you
Yeah.
have a wine, cigarette.
Yeah.
So entwined, but it was part of it was part of that like feeling of,
Yeah.
oh my God, I gotta make these calls. But, and I talk about this like in my videos, I've talked about the making the calls and starting.
Yeah.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's true.
That is true.
And the more you do it, the better you get. And
Yeah.
here's what I talked about 2 days ago. When you take the action when you don't feel like doing it, it actually gives you more momentum to want to do more, because if you get a win along the way in that action, you're like, okay, oh, you forgot all about the fact that you didn't want to do it and you didn't want to do it
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. That is so true. That is so
And so it's just like, and you have to think about it like this, the only person that is hurting by you not doing whatever you said you're going to do is you. You're the
It's
only
so true.
person. So it comes like, I go back, okay, self-love, self-esteem, want to be better.
Yeah.
If I don't do this, nobody's doing it for me. Nobody's coming to save us. This
Mhm.
is it. And I had a conversation on a podcast, Debbie, and my friend said, you know the meeting that I'm afraid of? I said, no. He said, I'm afraid of the meeting that I have right before I die
Wow.
with the person that I could have been.
That's deep. Wow.
If that doesn't scare the F out of you, I don't know.
Yeah, that just like that just
I
sent
had,
some sort of vibe through my body, like, that's pretty deep. Yeah,
if you listen to my video from last night, I brought it up. I did bring that up.
yeah,
So, do you want to take that meeting? Because at that point on your deathbed, it's too late.
it
And
is.
the person that you could have been introduces themselves to you,
Mm,
says, you know, look
yeah.
who you could have been, or you wasted your life, or
Oh,
whatever they say.
that's so true, and something else that Stephen Covey says in that book and that this exercise he has you do is imagine yourself at your funeral.
Mm,
And what are people saying around you? They're not going to say, oh, Debbie drove this kind of car or she had this kind of money. It's going to be what kind of person Debbie was, what kind of, friend, businesswoman, you know, just what you radiate to the world is what people are going to remember versus the money and the material things. So,
No doubt. No
yeah,
doubt.
yeah,
But that's something to really think about is,
for sure.
who could you become?
Mm.
The
I'm gonna
best
I'm gonna keep that fresh in my mind today
the
because
best version of
yeah,
yourself.
Yeah, because today I'm kind of struggling with, I want to work out. I want to, do weights instead of yoga today. And I'm like, do I really want to do that? Do I feel like doing that? Can I find the time to do that?
So
Like,
here's so here I'll help you a little bit with that too. So forget about the feelings. It really doesn't matter what you feel. We never feel like doing nothing we're supposed to do.
yeah.
So it's all about making the commitment. You made the commitment to yourself to do it. Every time we don't do the commitment that we made ourselves to do, we lose a little bit of integrity with
Mm,
ourselves.
yeah.
And as we lose integrity, we lose confidence. And then our confidence decreases, and then our self-esteem decreases. So you build confidence by keeping your commitments to yourself. People say, "Why'd you do that video every day?" It's a commitment I made.
Yeah.
It buil it builds confidence, it builds character,
Yeah, for sure.
and that goes along with anything you do on a consistent basis. So it's like, "Oh my god, I said I'm doing this, I have to do it." I made a
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah.
Going back to commitment, 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 and not go into goals. I do not use that word. A goal
Mm,
is just like a hope and a prayer. It means
yeah.
nothing.
And you don't let anything get in the way of that, huh? Like, no matter, it's not like you've made a commitment to making that video at a certain time every day. It's just get it in between 12
Make
in the
a
morning and
commitment.
12 midnight.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
make commitment, bring a message.
Yeah.
Most of the times my messages are positive about real estate. Once in a blue moon, and I do tell stories about my things going on.
Yeah.
I told a story the other day about, I sold 2 houses. One had a tree growing in the middle of it out the roof, like a big trunk.
Ah,
Yeah, you listen to the story, and the other one was
I'll have
about
to listen to that
the
one.
murder. I sold a house that had a murder in it, and the landlord killed his tenants because they didn't pay the rent. True story.
Oh
You
my
can
god.
Google it. It was on Kroski Street in Art Museum area.
Oh, so I
Anyway,
bought a house 5 years ago where there was a murder. I literally bought the house a month after the murder. There was still a hole cut out in the floor from where the crime scene people, the investigating team, took out this huge piece of the hardwood floor in the kitchen for DNA sampling. The guy killed his wife and threw her in the pool to make it look like she drowned.
are you
It
still in there?
No, got rid of that house 5 years ago and downsized into a townhouse, which I absolutely love. It's
Oh,
just
cool.
less, it's just where I need to be
Easy,
in life.
easy,
Easy peasy, less
easy
respons
peasy.
Yeah, it's what
I
I'm all
get it.
about these days.
I get it.
Simplifying my life.
Good. Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Well, so I have a couple questions for
yeah.
you. Okay. Number 1, what is your guilty pleasure?
Swedish fish. If I have to, like, answer immediately with, like, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh gosh, I just have this weakness for that little sugar craving. Yeah, if I could
Okay,
just
I'll
eat a
take it. I get it. I used to eat those, and they're addictive.
It sounds so childish, but it is just, but it's funny when I eat Swedish fish, it takes me back to my childhood, which is
Oh,
great
yeah.
memories of
Oh,
something.
yeah.
So
Who
that
doesn't
would
like
be that
I
would
love
be the
it.
simple answer for that one.
Okay, I like it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, and this is about you, no other people. Now tell me what you are most excited about for your future.
Oh gosh. I feel most excited about just the personal growth path that I'm on. I've really, over the last 2 years, and whoever would have thought that at like 57 years old, I'd still be learning so much about myself. But this past 2 years has really been just eye opening for me in so many different ways. Just taking a break from dating, not caring about being, supported by someone else, just supporting me, not supporting someone else, as I've done my whole life. Just, I've always felt like I've gotten into relationships where, you know, I didn't have someone that if my train fell off the track would be there for me. I was always the one, the fixer.
Yeah.
So I would say my personal growth. I've really come to a place where I just feel very strong about my boundaries and where I'm going, and just much more confident in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so great to have you this morning,
Thank
Deborah.
you. Thank you. It
This,
was so nice to get some FaceTime with you. I appreciate it.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And we'll have to have you back towards the end of the year to hear what's going on with
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
And
It's great to see you.